Just a quick disclaimer, the games I discuss in this video may not be for you, but if you're new around here, everything I say in this video is 100% pure objective fact. So if something looks interesting, I highly urge you to check it out. Thank you, and enjoy. I have a problem. I keep choosing to play games that none of my friends know about, so I have no one to talk about them with. For this reason, I feel some level of responsibility to take action, get the word out there. So without further ado, here are 3 hidden gems that you probably missed out on. The first game I have for you today is Windlands. This is a single-player, semi-open world grappling hook game. It's playable with or without VR, so if you're rich and bored, go right ahead, cause it looks like a blast. And if you don't, it's more than playable on keyboard and mouse, trust me. There are 3 worlds in this game. Number 1 is jungle, covered in an abundance of trees and fallen titans. The second is city, a large cityscape with some shrubbery and a very industrial feel. The final world is sky, a sprawling array of floating islands with a very open atmosphere. In each of these levels, your goal is to collect 3 crystals, each one opening up something new. One of these crystals opens up the next world, and the other 2 give you the ability to enter challenging time trial stages that correspond to each world's environment. Upon gathering all the crystals, you will have completed the game. Despite this being roughly a 4-hour game, if you don't know what you're doing, I have nearly 55 hours in this game, which is a lot more than 4. This is due to its gorgeous environments coupled with its whimsical soundtrack, making it very easy to get lost in the world and swing around for hours, just for fun. While this game's story might not be anything to write home about, it does give you enough of a background on the world to allow you to be immersed as the extremely mobile hero that you embody. The visuals and music are incredible, but it's not even the best part. That's reserved solely for the gameplay. It's very simple, but it just never gets tiring. Swinging through the vast open skies of Windlands between these floating islands is one of the most freeing gaming experiences I've had. I've owned this game for years, and despite being the same for years with no new updates or DLC, I continue to find myself coming back to enjoy the world again. The experience can vary slightly depending on what you choose for difficulty between easy, normal, and hard. I'll start with hard, since it's what I replayed the game on for this video. In hard mode, you can only grapple onto bushes, and there are an increased number of parkour sections where you must rely on jumping between platforms and off of walls to get past them. This is the most challenging mode, obviously, with a couple of sections that can be really frustrating, but overall, it's nothing too terrible. Normal is pretty much the same as hard, but the parkour sections mostly have bushes that you can grapple to make them a lot easier. Easy is the most fun way to play the game in my opinion. You can grapple onto any surface rather than just the bushes, which pretty much makes this as close as you can get to a first-person Spider-Man game right now. It does make the game very easy, of course, but if you want something relatively laid back, then this is going to be your best option. One suggestion I do have if you decide to play this game. In the settings, you can activate an option called Advanced Ropes. Normally, when you hook onto something, it pulls the rope automatically for as long as you're hooked on, but with Advanced Ropes, you can pull them on your own by using the Shift key. This makes the learning curve a little bit steeper, but it also makes the game a lot more fun, allowing for much easier control of your momentum and direction. If you're looking for something time-consuming and a little bit more intense, look no further than Vampire Survivors. This is an arcadey top-down horde survival game with roguelike and bullet hell elements, and not one single vampire. You'll fight wolves, skeletons, biblically accurate angels, milk elementals, but no vampires. This game is pretty much the single reason I made this video. See, at just $5 on Steam, Vampire Survivors has an obscene amount of content. First day of my winter break, a friend of mine, Mario, told me I should play this, so I bought it, and I played it for 8 hours in one sitting. I said to myself, wow, I'm never going to do that again, but by day 3 after my purchase, I had 18 hours logged on Vampire Survivors. After about 5 days of owning Vampire Survivors, I sat at 33 hours and had 100%ed both the base game and the fantastic $2 DLC. That's about a quarter of 5 days, in case you were curious. My point is, there's a lot to do in this game, and it can suck you in very easily. Starting out might be very difficult, but once you warm up to it, the game can very quickly go from this to this. I'd like to think that this is a tribute to some older series due to its graphics and very clear references to older series such as Castlevania. You start with just a few characters, but including the 8 DLC characters, there are 48 total. In Vampire Survivors, variety is the spice of life. Each one starts with a different weapon and has a unique passive ability. Most characters even have their own accompanying song on the soundtrack. There are 39 weapons in this game and 21 passive items. By building certain weapons in conjunction with certain items, you are able to evolve or combine weapons, resulting in a powerful evolution with there being one for most of the weapons in the game. There are 5 base stages and 7 bonus stages on top of the expansive DLC stage. There are also additional modes and modifiers you can apply to each stage in order to make it easier, harder, faster, or just an overall different experience. There are secret characters and interactions that lead to a constantly evolving world. If you're looking for a relatively simple experience that takes game design back to its roots and can take your mind off other things that you can keep coming back to, this is your game. I do have one single complaint, and that is the lack of unique boss encounters. Most bosses in this game are just enemies with a lot of health. Off the top of my head, there are only 3 unique boss encounters, 2 of which are actually very interesting and require very specific and refined builds, and the final boss, which is cool, but honestly, it's just okay. Luckily, the bosses are the best part of Furi. Furi is a single-player boss rush style game in which you play as a man attempting to escape his multi-level prison and defeat his jailers. I truly could make an entire video about this game, but in an attempt to limit encounter and story spoilers, I'll just leave the rest to you. In each fight, you have 3 lives, which might sound like a lot until you recognize that just the first fight has 7 phases. In each phase, there are 2 phases, kind of. A zoomed-out, bullet hell type fight transitioning to a more close-up and personal duel. But these 2 phases vary between the different bosses. From the very beginning, you are taught every move at your disposal. All that's left is to find out which ones apply to which enemies. This leaves for an incredibly engaging experience, with each boss being very mechanically challenging in a way that completely differs from the last. The combat is fantastic, but that's not the only thing at play here. Guided by a mysterious man with a rabbit mask, you travel between different environments where you are drip-fed information regarding your past, why you're imprisoned, and who each boss is. On top of their very distinct designs, each boss resides in their own unique world which fits their thematic. Each and every one also has their own noticeably different personality and motivation to hold you back. Even in your short time with each of them, they leave you thinking that maybe you're on the wrong side of this conflict. That sentiment growing as you learn more about the ruthless killer you control and the world that surrounds him. Similar to the last one, I do have one complaint, but that's just the entire 7th boss. A lot of people love it because it's challenging, but to me, that kind of feels like an excuse, because I think she's just poorly designed and doesn't really have a place in this game among the other bosses. Luckily, she is pretty much the best song in the game, and the following fight is one of the best, in my opinion at least, so it kind of makes up for it. There are a total of 9 main bosses, and then there's a secret final boss, and then 2 more after you complete the game. There's also a different character you can play afterwards, as well as a new difficulty, allowing for a completely different experience on subsequent playthroughs. All I have to say is, don't stop once you hit the credits, because there's a lot more fun that you can have. This game is gorgeous, in every single manner of the word. Because the game is not super long, it's easy to write off due to the price, but I wholeheartedly recommend it for its gameplay and story, even if it is kind of indirect. From its vibrant colors to its detailed environments, all the way to the intense and often gorgeous soundtrack, Furi is a fantastic package from beginning to end. Hey guys, thanks for listening to me talk into a microphone. I really hope you all enjoyed the video and maybe found some new games to try out. If you made it this far and you liked the video, by all means subscribe, because I would really appreciate it. While you're at it, you might as well like, comment, or share. So thanks a lot. With that being said, again, thank you all for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.